Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. So, today's topic is female reproductive system. We have already completed the male reproductive system and the spermatogenesis process, and today's topic is female reproductive system. So, it is a much more complex system than the male because it has dual function. It means it has two functions to do. First one is the production of gamete, that is the ovum, the female gamete, through the process oogenesis, whereas in the male reproductive system it was spermatogenesis. So the first function is to form the ovum, and the next function is to nourish and to develop the embryo, or the nourishment of developing embryo, which is known as fetus, throughout the gestation period, means the whole developmental period through which the zygote develops into a complete baby, or the baby remains in the mother's womb throughout the developmental period, which is known as gestation period, and the duration of the gestation period is 38 weeks, or more or less 9 months plus or minus 7 days. It is about the gestation period, important. So next, what are the different parts of the female reproductive system? It mainly comprises of a pair of ovaries, the female gonads, then a pair of fallopian tube, then the uterus, then vagina, Bartholin's gland and mammary gland. Bartholin's glands and mammary glands are the accessory glands that are associated with this reproductive system, and the main organs are ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus and the vagina, that is the external genitalia. So today we will study about the ovaries. What are their structure, how they are formed. So before getting into the topic, see here, this is the image. These two are the ovaries, pair of ovaries I have already said. So these two are the ovaries, and here is the fallopian tube. This tube like structure is the fallopian tube. And then see here, two fallopian tubes are there, and then in middle a triangular portion is there known as the uterus. This whole triangular portion is the uterus, and then the vagina is there. So there are different minute parts or sub parts that I am not discussing now, but these are the more or less the overall parts of the female reproductive system. First pair of ovaries, then pair of fallopian tubes, and then the uterus, then the vagina. See, here is a clear image. These two are the ovaries, then this tube like structures are the fallopian tube, this triangular structure is known as the uterus, and then the vagina is here. Fine. So first we will discuss about the ovaries. These are the primary sex organ of a female, and I have already told that these are paired structures. Ovaries are paired in nature. If we will talk about their length, only 2 to 4 centimeter, and their shape are somewhat almond like, almond shaped. Okay. Then the attachment, how the ovary is connected to the uterus. See here, the ovary is connected to the uterus by ovarian ligament, and here another ligament is there known as broad ligament. So the ovary is connected to the uterus by ovarian ligament and the broad ligament. See here, this one is the ovarian ligament, and this whole shaded structure is known as broad ligament. And this broad ligament is connected to the ovary through mesovarium. Fine, this broad ligament and the ovary are attached by mesovarium. So if we will talk about the outer coverings of the ovary, it is basically covered by the visceral peritoneum, which is the outer one, then the germinal epithelium, and then the tunica albuginea layer. See this structure, the outer one is visceral peritoneum, and in between there is germinal epithelium, and then here is the germinal epithelium, and then inside to it there is tunica albuginea. the inner layer. Fine. These are the 3 layers of the ovary. So just inside the, see here, this is a clear image. So if this is the last layer, that is the tunica albuginea. So just beneath to it, the ovarian stroma is present. Ovarian stroma, or you can say the cytoplasm like structure, the ovarian stroma, which is again divided into 2 parts. The outer one is the cortex and the middle portion is medulla, or the inner one is medulla. So the outer one is cortex and the inner one is medulla, where the blood vessels are present. So during the early development, when the baby is developing, or a female baby is developing inside the mother's uterus, it has some layers outside it or covering it. One of them is yolk sac. We will study about these embryonic membranes later classes. So one of them is yolk sac. So from the yolk sac, the cells, that is primordial germ cells, are migrated towards the ovaries of the fetus. See, if inside the uterus, it is the uterus, here is the baby, and the baby is covered by layers. If this is the yolk sac layer, so the primordial germ cells are present somewhere in this yolk sac, and they are migrated to the baby's ovary. They will be migrated to the baby's ovary, and they will then form the primordial germ cells will now form the primordial follicular cells. Primordial follicular cells. These primordial follicular cells will further develop into primary follicular cells, and this primary follicular cell will further develop into secondary follicle cells. Then the tertiary follicle cells will form. These tertiary follicle cells will mature to form the Graafian follicle. So these are the follicles that are present in the ovary. If we will talk about the cells, first is the primordial germ cell that came from the yolk sac to the developing embryo's ovary, and then the PGCs form the primordial follicular cells, then the primary follicular cells, then secondary follicle cells, tertiary follicle cells, and it matured to form the Graafian follicle. These Graafian follicles contain the secondary oocyte that will later on form the ovum, the secondary oocyte, and it will release it. The Graafian follicle will rupture and will release the secondary oocyte. So this whole follicle stages we will study in oogenesis. But in this anatomy of this ovary, I am just telling which types of follicles are there in the ovary. So see here, primordial follicles, primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, which is not here actually in this diagram. Then the mature Graafian follicle, it means it is the tertiary follicle. Okay. So if we will talk about the Graafian follicle, it is a significant structure. I have already written here, these are the different follicles that are present in the ovary. So if we will talk about the Graafian follicle, the Graafian follicle is covered by a theca layer, theca. So the outer one is theca externa, and just beneath to it, theca interna is present. And then after this theca layer, there is a number of granulosa cells known as membrana granulosa. Membrana granulosa layer, this yellow one, membrana granulosa. And then there is a cavity, this pink colored structure, there is a half moon shaped cavity is there. This cavity is known as antrum. and this cavity is not empty, it is fluid filled. So this cavity is basically filled with a fluid known as liquor folliculi. This cavity is filled with a fluid known as liquor folliculi. In this cavity, actually just near to the cavity, there is another type of cells known as cumulus ovaricus, or these are also known as cumulus euphoricus. So these cumulus ovaricus cells are further developed to form a different layer of cells known as the corona radiata layer. They will form the corona radiata layer. Fine. So this corona radiata layer actually surrounds a cell that is the secondary oocyte. It is covering the secondary oocyte cells. See here, the follicular cumulus ovaricus cells form the corona radiata layer, and just beneath to it another homogeneous membrane is present, that is zona pellucida layer. Here is not actually mentioned it. There is zona pellucida layer, and just beneath to the zona pellucida the secondary oocyte is present. So first is secondary oocyte, it is covered by zona pellucida, and then the corona radiata layer that is formed from the cumulus ovaricus, and then the antrum is present which is filled by cumulus ovaricus, then the membrana granulosa layers are present, or the follicular cells are present, then the theca layers are present, theca externa and theca interna. So these follicular cells actually secrete a type of hormone that is known as estrogen. The follicular cells secrete estrogen hormone, very important. The female hormone, estrogen. So these are the structure of the Graafian follicle. So what actually happens? This Graafian follicle, after being matured, it ruptures to release out the secondary oocyte, and this process is known as ovulation. So ovulation is the process through which the secondary oocyte is released from the Graafian follicle. So after the release of the secondary oocyte, this ruptured Graafian follicle further forms into different structures. So first it forms into corpus luteum. After rupturing, the degenerated follicle forms corpus luteum, which contains a yellow colored protein known as lutein protein. That is why the corpus luteum appears as yellow in color. It contains a protein lutein which is yellow in color, that is why the whole structure appears as yellow in color. What about its function? The corpus luteum secretes progesterone hormone. Mostly it secretes progesterone hormone, and along with small amount of estradiol. Estradiol is nothing but it is a type of estrogen hormone, and also relaxin hormone, some amount of relaxin hormone. So moreover, this corpus luteum secretes progesterone, estradiol and relaxin hormone. If the fertilization takes place, if the female conceived or it gets pregnant, then this corpus luteum structure will persist throughout the gestation periods. But if the female doesn't fertilize, or if the female doesn't get pregnant, then what will happen? Then this corpus luteum will again degenerate to form a white scar-like structure known as corpus albicans. See here, first the corpus luteum will be formed, then it will be matured. This is the matured corpus luteum, and if the fertilization will not take place, then this corpus luteum will again degenerate into another white scar-like structure, that is corpus albicans. So this is the whole structure of the ovary. Hope this is clear. Then another one is the fallopian tube. These are also the paired structures, also known as oviduct. If we will talk about their length, they are 10 to 12 centimeter long, and these have 3 parts. See in this structure, these have 3 parts. First one is the infundibulum, then the ampulla, and then isthmus. So the infundibulum is the first part or the anterior part, which contains a finger-like projections. These are called as fimbriae. And what are their functions? They actually collect the secondary oocyte that is secreted from the ovary. They collect the secondary oocyte through the peristalsis movement. Through the peristalsis movement, they actually collect the secondary oocyte from the ovary, and then they will transfer it to the uterus. So first, in infundibulum section, there is fimbriae are present, who can collect the secondary oocyte from the ovary, and then the ampulla region is there, which is the widest section of the ovary, and then the isthmus region, which joins to the uterus. The fallopian tube basically transfers the ovum from the ovary to the uterus. The main function of the fallopian tube is to transfer the ovum from the ovary to the uterus. But in between, fertilization process takes place. Fertilization means the fusion of the sperm and ovum. This process takes place somewhere in the ampulla, or if we will talk specifically, then it will happen in between the ampulla and the isthmus. In between the ampulla and isthmus, that is known as the ampullary isthmic junction. So, fertilization or the fusion of the male and female gamete takes place in the ampulla or ampullary isthmic junction. So, this is it for today's class. Hope you all have understood. If there is any doubt or is there any kind of suggestions, you can drop in the comment box. Thank you everyone.